The night was quiet. The stars shone like silver dust spread across the sky. A young man walked alone on the empty road. His name was Daniel. He was tired after a long day of work, and all he wanted was to reach home and rest. The world around him was silent. Only the sound of his footsteps touched the air. But suddenly, the silence broke. A flash of light cut through the sky. It was not a star, not a plane. It was something strange, something unknown. The light burned bright, then fell down fast, crashing into the dark forest nearby. The ground shook slightly. Birds flew up, crying in fear. Daniel stopped. His heart jumped. What was that? He thought. Curiosity pulled him forward. Against his fear, he walked quickly into the forest. The trees stood tall, whispering in the wind. The smell of smoke filled the air. Between the broken branches, he saw it burning metal half buried in the ground. A crash site dot, and then he heard a soft sound. Not the sound of fire. Not the sound of falling wood. It was a weak voice. A whisper. Daniel pushed closer. His eyes grew wide. There, lying on the cold earth, was a girl. But she was not human. Her skin glowed faintly like moonlight. Her hair shimmered in colors he had never seen, silver mixed with blue. Her eyes, half open, held a strange light, a light that seemed older than time itself. She was beautiful, but broken, weak, afraid. Her clothes were torn, not like anything from Earth. Strange marks ran across her arms, glowing faintly as if alive. She tried to sit up, but fell again. Daniel froze. His breath caught. Was this real? An alien? The girl looked at him with desperate eyes. Her voice was soft, shaking, like dry leaves in the wind. Please. Help me, she whispered. Don't leave me here. I have nowhere else. Daniel stepped back, unsure. Fear and wonder mixed inside him. Why is she here? Why alone? She tried to reach out her hand, trembling. I beg you, take me with you. Let me serve you. If you leave me, I will die. Her words stabbed his heart. He saw her pain. She was not proud, not strong. She was broken, abandoned, begging for life. Daniel's mind raced. Why me? Why ask me? I'm just a normal man. What does an alien want from me? The girl's eyes filled with tears. Please, I will obey you. I will work for you. Only, don't leave me to die. Daniel looked at the crashed ship behind her. It was small, broken, and burning. Whoever brought her here was gone. Or maybe they left her on purpose. A shiver ran through him. The thought was heavy. She was abandoned. But why? He stepped closer, slowly, as if walking in a dream. The girl lowered her head, her silver hair falling like water. She bowed to him, even in her weakness. I am nothing now, she said. No home. No family. No name. I am yours, if you accept me. Daniel's heart beat faster. The forest felt colder, darker. The sound of burning metal hissed behind them. Every shadow looked alive. Still, he could not turn away. Something inside him whispered, if you leave her, she will die. If you take her, your life will never be the same. He reached out his hand. She looked up at him, her glowing eyes wide with hope and fear. Their hands touched. Her skin was warm, trembling like a frightened bird. Stand up, Daniel said softly. I won't leave you. Her lips parted, and for the first time, a weak smile touched her face. But behind that smile, Daniel saw the truth, deep fear, and a secret she was not ready to tell. The night grew darker. The wind grew stronger. Somewhere above, the stars seemed to watch in silence. The story of a poor, abandoned alien beauty. And the human who chose to accept her had just begun. The night carried heavy silence as Daniel guided the strange girl out of the burning wreckage. Her steps were weak, almost failing. Each time she stumbled, he caught her arm. Her skin was warm, glowing faintly under the silver light of the moon. When they reached the edge of the forest, Daniel stopped. The small town lights flickered in the distance. He looked at the girl beside him, confused and uncertain. She seemed so fragile, yet so unreal. They sat near an old wooden bench. The girl lowered her head, silent, her silver hair falling like a curtain. The fire from the crash still burned behind them, but here, only the sound of the wind and her quiet breathing filled the night. Finally, Daniel spoke. "Who are you?" Her lips moved, but no sound came out. Her hands clutched her torn dress. For a long moment, she only shook her head. Then, in a trembling voice, she answered, "I am no one." Daniel frowned. "No one. That's not possible." "Everyone is someone." Tears filled her glowing eyes. "Not me. I was thrown away. I was told I am nothing." Her words were heavy, falling like stones into the silence. Daniel watched her carefully. She was not lying. He could see pain carved deep inside her. She continued in a weak whisper, "My people are strong, proud, but they do not forgive weakness. I was different. I was slower, softer, not like the others. They left me behind. Left me to die." Her voice cracked. She pressed her hands against her chest as if trying to hold the broken pieces of her heart. Daniel felt something stir inside him. This alien, this strange girl from the stars, was not a monster. She was a soul drowning in loneliness. "You begged me to take you," Daniel said quietly. "Why?" She lifted her eyes. They shone like water reflecting the moon. "Because I cannot live alone. I have no place. I have no name. But if you allow me, I will belong to you. Even if as a servant. Even if as nothing. At least then, I am not alone." Her words were sharp, pulling at Daniel's chest. He was only a simple man. He had no power, no great destiny. And yet, here was a being from another world, bowing before him as if he was her last hope. For a moment, he wanted to refuse. His life was already hard. He was poor, barely surviving each day. What could he offer her? But when he saw the tears slipping down her pale face, something inside him broke. He spoke softly, "I don't need a servant." She flinched, as if struck. Her head lowered more. But Daniel continued, "If you want a place, you can stay with me." Her body trembled. Slowly, she raised her head, her lips parting in surprise. "You would accept me?" Daniel nodded once. "Yes, but not as a servant. As someone who deserves to live." For the first time, a faint light returned to her face. A smile, small and fragile, touched her lips. But the smile was covered quickly by fear. She looked around the forest, her hands shaking. "They will come," she whispered. "My people. They will search for me. If they find me here, they will kill me. And they will kill you too." Daniel's chest tightened. Then why come to Earth? Why escape to here? Her eyes grew darker. She looked down, silent for a long time. Finally, she whispered, "Because Earth is the only place where humans are still free. My people. They take everything. They destroy. They call themselves perfect. But I am not perfect. I was their shame. So they threw me away." The fire of the crash still burned far behind them. The night smelled of smoke and fear. Daniel realized now she was more than just abandoned. She was running from something far greater. He studied her carefully. She looked so human in her sadness, so human in her need for kindness. Yet deep inside, He knew her story was only beginning, and danger was already on its way. The girl bowed again, lowering herself to the ground before him. "Please," she said softly, "allow me to stay. Even if I must sleep on the floor, even if I must work until I break. Please, let me be yours. At least then, I have a reason to breathe." Daniel felt his throat tighten. He could not understand why. But he reached down and touched her shoulder gently. "You don't need to beg anymore," he said. "You are safe with me." For now, her glowing eyes filled with tears again. But this time, they were tears of hope. Somewhere above, the stars glittered coldly. Somewhere far away, ships moved in the dark, hunting. The night was not truly safe. But for this moment, under the quiet sky, a broken alien soul found a human willing to keep her alive, and that was enough. For now, the days that followed were quiet, almost too quiet. Daniel kept his promise. He gave the alien girl a place in his small home. She slept on a thin blanket near the corner of his room. She never complained. She never asked for more. Every morning she woke early. She cleaned, she cooked with clumsy hands, and she moved carefully, as if afraid of breaking even the smallest thing. She never sat at the table unless Daniel told her to. She never spoke unless asked. It was as if she was trying to disappear, to be invisible. But Daniel could not ignore her. He noticed the way her glowing eyes often drifted to the window, staring at the sky. He noticed how she sometimes pressed her hands against her chest, as if trying to hold back something inside. One night, as the wind blew cold outside, Daniel found her sitting alone in the dark. No lamp lit the room. Yet her body gave off a faint silver glow. Her hair shimmered in the shadows. She looked fragile, but also unreal. "Why do you sit in the dark?" Daniel asked softly. She turned, startled, her eyes wide. "Because the dark hides me," she whispered. "In the dark, I am less dangerous." Her words confused him. Dangerous? To who? "You have hurt no one." Her lips trembled. "Not yet." She lowered her eyes, and her hands shook. The wooden chair beneath her began to creak, even though she wasn't moving. Daniel's eyes narrowed. Something was happening. Then he saw tiny sparks of light floating around her fingers. They flickered like fireflies in the air. The air itself seemed heavy, pressing against his chest. "Stop," she whispered to herself. "Please stop." The sparks vanished. The chair stopped shaking. She held her breath, her whole body trembling. Daniel stared. What was that? The girl's eyes filled with fear. "I told you. I am different. My people hated me for this. I cannot control it. When I feel pain, when I feel fear, it happens." Daniel took a step closer. "What happens?" She looked up at him, her eyes glowing brighter now. "The world listens to me. Objects move. Lights burn. The air bends. I never wanted this power. But it is part of me." Her voice broke. She covered her face with her hands. "That is why they abandoned me. They feared me. They called me cursed." Daniel felt a chill. Power like this, hidden inside a girl so fragile. If her people feared her, maybe they had reason. But when he looked at her now, shaking and broken, he saw not a curse, but a wound. Then why hide it? He asked. Her voice was barely a whisper. "Because if they find me, they will kill us both. My power is forbidden. They will not allow me to live. And they will not forgive you for helping me." The room fell into silence. Only the sound of the wind outside touched the walls. Daniel's heart was heavy. He knew now that danger was real. Her people were searching. And if they came, they would bring death. Still, he could not push her away. Listen, Daniel said firmly. Your power is not a curse. It's part of you. You can learn to control it. You can choose what it becomes. Her eyes widened, wet with tears. You don't fear me. He shook his head. No, I fear the ones who hurt you, not you. For a long moment, she said nothing. Then, slowly, she lowered her hands. A faint smile, weak but real, touched her lips. It was the smile of someone who had never been told such words before. But just as peace settled between them, the air shifted. A low hum echoed outside. Daniel froze. The girl's face turned pale. She rushed to the window, her glowing eyes scanning the sky. High above, strange lights moved in silence. Not stars. Not planes, ships. Searching, her voice shook. They are here. Daniel's chest tightened. He stepped closer to her. What do we do? She turned to him, her body trembling. Hide me, please, if they see me. If they sense me. It will all end tonight. The glow in her eyes burned brighter with fear. Her power stirred again, the air in the room trembling like a heartbeat. She pressed her hands against the window frame, whispering to herself. Trying to calm down, Daniel placed his hand gently on her shoulder. You are not alone anymore. Whatever comes, we face it together. Her breath caught. For the first time, she believed him. Yet outside, the ships moved closer, their lights scanning the ground like hungry eyes. The silence of the night was no longer peaceful. It was the silence before a storm, and in that silence, a secret power, fragile but growing, waited inside the girl, ready to either save them or destroy everything. The night no longer felt safe above the quiet town. Strange lights moved slowly, like silent predators circling the ground. They glowed pale blue against the dark sky, sweeping across forests, hills, and rivers. Each light beam stretched like a finger, searching, reaching, hunting. Inside Daniel's small house, the girl sat by the window, frozen in fear. Her glowing eyes followed the ships in the sky. Her whole body shook as if the cold air had entered her bones. Daniel stood behind her. He had seen fear before in his own life, but never like this. Her terror was not of shadows or ghosts. It was of something real, something she had known all her life. They are here, she whispered. Her voice cracked like glass. They are searching for me. Daniel clenched his fists. Who are they? She turned to him, her face pale and broken. My people. He stared, shocked. Your people. Then why would they hunt their own? Her lips trembled. She lowered her head, her silver hair falling over her face. Because I am different. Because I am a shame to them. My power, it is not like theirs. They see me as a mistake. They threw me away, but if I survive, I will expose their cruelty. So they must erase me. They must erase anyone who helps me. Her words cut through Daniel's heart. He looked back at the window. The lights outside moved closer, crawling across the earth like cold hands. Then we need to hide, he said firmly. If they come here, she stopped him, shaking her head. You don't understand. They will not stop. They will burn the ground if they must. They will destroy your world to make sure I am gone. Her glowing eyes filled with tears. I never wanted this. I never wanted to bring danger to you. Daniel's jaw tightened. You didn't bring danger. They did. The girl covered her mouth with her hands, trying to silence her sobs. The room seemed to tremble faintly. The lamp flickered. Daniel remembered her strange power, how the air itself seemed to obey her emotions. Calm down, he said softly, placing a hand on her shoulder. If you lose control now, they will sense you. She nodded quickly, squeezing her eyes shut. Slowly, the trembling stopped. The lamp steadied. For a moment, silence returned. But outside, the humming grew louder. One of the ships broke from the group. It lowered closer to the ground. Its light beams swept across the street, then the fields, then the edges of the forest. The girl gasped, pulling away from the window. She pressed herself against the wall, whispering like a frightened child, "They will find me. They always find me." Daniel knelt in front of her. His voice was steady, but his heart raced. "Look at me." She opened her eyes slowly. "You are not alone now," Daniel said. "If they come, we fight. If they take you, they take me too. Do you understand?" Her eyes widened. She shook her head. "No. You don't know them. They are stronger than humans. Faster, crueler. They will kill you without thought." "I cannot let you," he cut her off. "And I cannot let them take you. You asked me to accept you. Teed. That means I don't walk away when it gets hard." Her lips parted, and for a moment she could not breathe. She had never heard such words before. Not from her own people. Not from anyone. But the moment was broken. A deep sound thundered outside. The ship's light beams stopped moving. It froze, pointing directly at Daniel's house. The girl's body stiffened. "They found me," she whispered. The humming grew into a roar as the ship descended lower. Dust rose from the ground outside. The windows shook. The walls groaned. Daniel grabbed her hand. "We need to move." Now she hesitated, her glowing eyes locked on his. "If we run, they will follow. If we hide, they will burn. There is no escape." Daniel squeezed her hand tighter. "Then we don't escape. We resist." Her heart pounded in her chest. Fear and hope mixed together, tearing her apart. She wanted to run, to hide, to vanish. But beside her stood a human who refused to leave her side. The ship outside landed with a crushing thud. The ground shook. The hum of its engines was a growl in the air. The girl closed her eyes, whispering to herself, "If they find us, I must not be weak again." Daniel looked at her, confused, but there was no time. The ship's doors began to open. A beam of blue light spilled across the street. Shadows moved inside the glow dot. The hunters had arrived. And in that moment, Daniel realized the truth: his quiet life was over. The shadows from the sky were here, and they would not leave until they claimed what they wanted. But what they did not know was that the broken girl they hunted was no longer alone. The ground outside still shook from the landing of the alien ship. Blue light poured through the cracks of the window, crawling across the wooden floor. Daniel stood frozen, his heart beating fast. But his hand still held the girl's. Her fingers trembled inside his, cold and soft like glass, ready to break. "Stay behind me," he whispered. The girl shook her head. Her glowing eyes were wide with fear. "No. If they see me, they will take you too. I cannot let that happen." But Daniel did not move. He refused to let go of her hand. "We stay together. Do you understand?" Together, the roar of the ship's engines slowly quieted. Heavy footsteps thudded outside. Shadows stretched across the door. The girl pressed herself closer to Daniel, her breath shaking. Then the sound stopped. Silence. For a long moment, nothing happened. No knock, no shout. Only silence. Finally, the blue light outside began to fade. The ship's engines hummed again, lifting slowly back into the night sky. The girl gasped, falling to her knees. They didn't see me," she whispered, tears streaming down her cheeks. Daniel bent down, steadying her. "Maybe they will come back. Maybe they will search again. But for now, we are safe." She looked up at him, her glowing eyes filled with something new. Not only fear, something softer, something she didn't have words for. "Why?" she asked, her voice breaking. Why risk yourself for me? I am not even human. I am nothing to you. Daniel met her eyes. His answer was simple, but it carried weight. Because you are not nothing. You are alive. That is enough. Her lips trembled. She had never been told such words before. In her world, weakness was shame. Here in this small human home, weakness was met with kindness. That night, she could not sleep. She sat by the corner, her silver hair glowing faintly in the dark. Daniel, half asleep, watched her from the bed. Her hands moved slowly over the broken fabric of her dress, trying to stitch the tears with clumsy effort. She wanted to be useful. She wanted to prove she deserved the place he gave her. But Daniel spoke softly through the quiet. You don't have to prove anything. You're safe here. Her eyes filled with tears again, but this time they were warm. The next day, Daniel left early for work. The girl stayed behind. She cleaned his small home carefully, touching every corner as if it was sacred ground. She cooked, though she did not know human food well. The soup burned, the bread was hard. Still, she placed it on the table and waited, proud of her effort. When Daniel returned, tired and dusty, he found her standing there, her glowing eyes shining with hope. It is not good, she said shyly, pointing to the food. But I tried. Daniel sat down, smiling faintly. He took a spoonful and ate without complaint. It's perfect. She lowered her head. Hiding her smile for the first time since she had fallen to earth, the girl felt a little less like a servant and a little more like family. But peace was fragile. That evening, as Daniel carried wood inside, a sharp sound echoed from the road. A car had lost control, crashing against a pole. A child screamed, trapped inside. Daniel dropped the wood and ran. The girl followed, her heart pounding. The car door was jammed. Flames sparked from the engine. Daniel pulled, but the metal would not bend. The child cried louder, "Help me." Daniel shouted, desperate. The girl froze. Fear battled inside her. If she used her power, she risked being seen. But if she did nothing, the child would burn. Her hands shook. Sparks flickered around her fingers. She closed her eyes. The air grew heavy. The car groaned. With a cry, she pushed out her power. The metal door twisted open like soft clay. Daniel pulled the child out, holding them close as the car burst into flames. Gasps rose from nearby people. They had seen, not all, but enough. The girl stepped back, her chest heaving. Her glowing eyes were wide with fear. I didn't mean. Daniel turned to her quickly, his voice low and firm. You saved a life. Don't be afraid of that. But she saw the way the people whispered. The way their eyes widened, fear, suspicion. They had seen what no human should see. That night, as the girl sat alone in the dark, she whispered, They will know. My people will sense it. They will come. Daniel sat across from her, his voice steady. Then let them come. We will be ready. Her eyes met his. For the first time, she believed him. She was no longer just a servant, no longer just a broken soul. She was his responsibility, his bond, and even if the shadows returned, even if the hunters came again, she was no longer alone. But far above the earth, in the silent black sky, alien ships moved once more. This time, they were not only searching, they were preparing. The night sky burned with light. 3 alien ships drifted above the quiet town, their silver bodies shining like blades against the stars. The hum of their engines was deep and endless, rattling windows, shaking doors. Filling every heart with dread, Daniel stood outside his small house, staring upward. His fists were clenched, though he knew his human strength meant nothing against ships like these. Behind him, the alien girl trembled, her glowing eyes fixed on the sky. "They found me," she whispered. Her voice was broken. "They saw the power I used. They know I am here." Daniel turned to her. Then we faced them. Her eyes widened in horror. "No, you don't understand. These are not scouts. These are hunters, trained to kill. They won't just take me. They will erase everything around me." Already, beams of blue light scanned the ground, sweeping over rooftops and streets. Dogs barked. Lights flickered in homes. People whispered in fear, watching from behind curtains. None of them understood the danger fully. Only Daniel and the girl knew what was coming. A deep, metallic voice echoed from the largest ship, carried on the wind. Subject 7. Surrender. Do not resist. This planet will not protect you. The girl's knees buckled. She fell against the wall, covering her ears as if the voice itself was cutting into her soul. Daniel rushed to her side, steadying her. "What do they mean?" Subject 7. Her lips trembled. Tears slid down her face. "That is what they called me. Not a name, a number. I was one of many experiments. But I was the weakest. They wanted to erase me, and now? They will." Daniel's heart pounded. He had no weapons, no plan. But he could not abandon her. He lifted her chin, forcing her to meet his eyes. "You're not a number. You're not weak. And they don't decide your worth. You do?" She shook her head, her breath shaking. "You don't know them. They are faster, stronger. They are death itself." The ground shook as one of the ships lowered. A ramp hissed open. Shadows moved inside the glowing blue light. Figures emerged, tall, armored, with silver helmets that reflected the stars. They carried weapons that pulsed with deadly light. The hunters had arrived. The girl pressed herself against Daniel, whispering in panic. "We cannot fight them. We must run." Daniel looked around. The forest, the fields, the town. There was nowhere safe. They would be seen no matter where they fled. "Running won't save us," he said. "They'll follow. They'll burn everything. We can't keep hiding." The girl's glowing eyes locked on his. "Then, what choice do we have?" Daniel's voice was steady, though his heart trembled. "We fight. Not for victory. For survival. For freedom." The hunters marched closer. Their heavy boots struck the ground in rhythm. The leader raised his weapon, scanning the air. Daniel pulled the girl behind him. "You said your power is dangerous, that they fear you. Maybe that's our chance." Her face went pale. "No. If I lose control, I could hurt you. I could destroy everything." Daniel's voice hardened. "Then control it. Use it for you. Use it for us." Her body shook. She wanted to believe him, but fear clawed at her. Still deep inside, something began to awaken. Not weakness. Not shame. Something else. The hunter stopped at the edge of the field. The leader's voice echoed again. "Subject 7. You are property. You are a failure. Surrender now, or watch this world burn." The girl's hands clenched. The air grew heavier. Sparks danced around her fingers. For the first time, she did not push it away. For the first time, she embraced it. Daniel felt the pressure in the air, but stood tall beside her. His voice was steady. "They don't own you. They never will. You are not theirs. You are free." The girl's glowing eyes filled with fire. Slowly, she rose to her feet, standing taller than before. Her silver hair lifted in the air as if touched by invisible wind. The hunters aimed their weapons, but the ground itself trembled under her rising power. Her voice rang out, strong for the first time. "I am not your subject. I am not your failure. I am not yours." Light burst from her hands, flooding the field. The hunters staggered, their helmets flashing with alarm. The ship above shifted nervously, beams twisting in confusion. Daniel shielded his eyes, but he did not step back. He had asked her to fight, and now she did. The hunt had begun. But this time, the prey was no longer running. The night shook with power. The alien hunters stood in the open field, their weapons glowing with deadly light. Behind them, the silver ship hummed like a beast ready to strike. Above, 2 more ships circled slowly, their beams sweeping across the earth. Daniel stood firm, his body tense, his fists clenched. Beside him, the girl glowed brighter than ever before. Her silver hair lifted in the air, her eyes blazing with light. The ground trembled beneath her bare feet. The lead hunter raised his weapon. His metallic voice echoed across the field. "Subject 7, surrender now. You are a mistake. You are not meant to exist." The girl's lips parted. For the first time, her voice was not weak, not trembling. It was clear and strong. "I am not your subject. I am not your mistake. I am alive. And I will not kneel to you again." Her hands spread open. The air thickened, bending as sparks exploded around her. The hunters fired. Beams of blue light shot through the night, tearing across the field. But before they could strike, the air twisted. The beams curved away, shattering harmlessly into the ground. The hunters staggered, their helmets flashing red warnings. Daniel shielded his face from the shockwave, but he did not run. His eyes stayed locked on her. She was no longer the fragile, broken girl he had first found. She was something else now, something powerful. The hunters advanced, shouting in their strange tongue. Their weapons lit up again. But the girl raised her hand, and the earth itself responded. The ground cracked. Stones lifted into the air, spinning in a circle of glowing force. With a wave, she sent them flying. The hunters fell back, their armor clanging against the dirt. One rose again, rushing forward with inhuman speed. His blade glowed bright as he swung toward her dot. Daniel moved without thinking. He grabbed a fallen branch, stepped in front of her, and blocked the strike. The blade shattered the branch in seconds, throwing him back to the ground. The hunter raised his weapon again. But before it could fall, the girl screamed. Her power burst outward like a storm. The hunter flew backward, crashing into the dirt with such force that the ground shook. His armor cracked. His body stilled. Daniel groaned, pulling himself up. She rushed to his side, kneeling beside him, her glowing hands trembling. "Why did you do that? Why protect me? You could have died." Daniel coughed, but his voice was steady. "Because you are worth protecting." Her glowing eyes filled with tears. For a heartbeat, the battle around them faded. In that moment, she believed it. She was no longer worthless. She was no longer a failure. The other hunters regrouped, raising their weapons once more. The leader roared, "Subject 7, enough. You will not survive this." The girl stood tall, her hair shining like fire under the night sky. She lifted both hands, and the air itself bent to her will. Lights from the ships above flickered. Engines stuttered. The ground shook harder, splitting open with cracks of energy. Her voice rang out, powerful and unbroken. "You tried to erase me. You tried to call me nothing. But tonight, I choose who I am." A blinding wave of light burst from her body, spreading across the field. The hunters staggered, their weapons shattering into pieces. Their armor cracked open. The leader screamed as the force hurled him back toward his ship. The other 2 ships above shook, their lights dimming, engines failing. Daniel covered his eyes from the brightness. He felt the world itself bending around her, but he did not fear her. He trusted her. When the light faded, silence fell. The hunters lay broken on the ground. The ships above sputtered, then turned, retreating back into the stars like beaten predators. The field was torn, the earth scarred. But the night was quiet once more. The girl collapsed to her knees, her body trembling. Daniel rushed to her side, holding her up. She was weak, her glow fading. But her eyes, when they met his, were filled not with fear, but with peace. "I am not theirs anymore," she whispered. "I am free. Because of you." Daniel shook his head. "No, because of you. You chose to fight. You chose to live." Her lips curved into the faintest smile. Slowly, she lowered herself, bowing before him. But this time, it was not the bow of a servant. It was something deeper. "I was abandoned by my own kind," she said softly. "But you accepted me. You gave me a place. From this night on, I belong here. With you." Daniel's throat tightened. He helped her stand, and together they looked at the sky. The stars shone quietly, no longer threatened by shadows. The battle was over. But their story was only beginning, for in a universe filled with cruelty and power, one truth had risen. Even the smallest human act of kindness could change the fate of worlds.